Hello, welcome in. It's Shaped by Kate. Today's yoga practice is going to be yoga for abs. So let's get started in our tabletop position. Align your shoulders and hips, stacking over the knees and wrist. Make sure your head is always aligned with those shoulders rather than looking up or looking down back at your knees. Now this is a pretty basic pose, but I want you to think about hugging in your core and just activating the muscles and activate that weight in the palms and the shin bones. Now you don't have to do this next part, but you're in tabletop as if you could set a book or a glass of water on top of your spine. That's how even and flat you want your spine to be. With the book there, you can also tell if you're maybe sagging too much in that tabletop or if you're rounding your spine a little bit too much. Find that even stance. And then let's start our movement. As you inhale, I want you to find your cow pose. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Tilt the crown of your head and tailbone to the sky. Exhale, stay here. Sink the chest through the shoulder joints. Then inhale to exhale, round the spine, find your cat pose. It's almost like you're pushing that book or imaginary book to the sky. Shoulder blades pull apart. Good, inhale, come back to that first pose, cow pose. Now since you know the movement, go ahead and just find that flow. Inhale, exhale, cat, cow, just at your own pace. So if you ever needed in your practice or throughout your day to feel a little bit more open, you can always come back to cat-cow. Rather than there's also child's pose, but that's a more stable, stationary position. So if you wanted movement, I like to come back to cat-cow. Alright, we will be on our palms more, so after your next round of cat-cow, let's find our child's pose. Sink the hips back towards your heels, melt your belly towards your thighs. Modified version is placing a pillow in between your knees, bringing weight away from your knee joints. In child's pose, let's open up the palms to the sky, curl the fingers into a fist, and then I want you to roll those fists or knuckles into the earth. Then after a couple rotations, switch directions, thinking about pointing that top of the wrist to the front of your mat. Find stillness and crawl those fingers towards the top of your mat as far as you're able, creating a deeper stretch. Inhale, lift from the top of your spine. Lift through tabletop to plank pose, extending the legs back, curling the toes under. Pull the shoulder blades apart. Press the palms into the earth. Feel that lift in your plank. Then inhale to shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Then when you're ready, come to downward facing dog, coming through tabletop by placing your knees on the mat if you need. Inhale, pulling your spine long to flatten out your back. Exhale to broaden the shoulders, rotating the biceps to the thumbs. Then shift forward, find plank again. Actively press palms into the mat. Inhale to exhale, set knees underneath the hips on the earth. Find tabletop with the toes curled under. Inhale to exhale, lift the knees away from the earth. Find bear plank pose. Now if you're just beginning this practice, you can stay here or find a challenge pose. We're going to inhale, exhale, find cat-cow in our bear plank. Intensifying that cat-cow that we did at the beginning of class. Always knowing that you can come back to just knees on the ground rather than doing this arm balance pose. Beautiful. Let's find one more round. Inhale, exhale. Set the knees on the earth, uncurl the toes, come into that child's pose. Take weight away from your palms and take weight away from the shoulders. Sweep them to the back of your mat, palms to the sky, forearms to the ground. Second wrist stretch with the palms facing up. Curl the fingers into a fist and then curl that fist into your wrist, opening up the wrist a little bit more. Good, release, extend the fingers and redo the movement. Beautiful. Find stillness or reach those arms forward, extending them long away from the body. Inhale, lift up from the top of your spine, finding modified plank or normal plank pose. Once you find that stable stance, inhale to shift forward, exhale, chaturanga. Inhale to that open heart pose, cobra. If you're feeling warmer, lift up into your upward facing dog, knees on the ground. Shift the hips back as you exhale, curl toes under, find downward facing dog. If you feel weight in your wrist, then you're going to send more of that weight to your hips and flatten out your back, so that mainly the weight is in your hips and your feet. Then when you're ready, let's make our way back into our tabletop pose. We're gonna now find our right side modified plank. Right hand stacks underneath the right shoulder, and then you're gonna walk your knees back maybe a half or full step, just so your knees are past your hips. Pivot that right shin bone to the right, and then inhale, lift that left palm to the sky, find modified side plank. Notice how this looks just like a normal side plank, but just with my knee on the ground. Shift around to change the intensity of the pose, so lift the left leg, or if that top arm is too distracting, bring it to your hip. Hold and breathe. Now turn your gaze to the earth. From our open body, we're going to inhale, exhale, square our body to the earth, finding modified plank, or your normal plank pose. Then find that flow, shift forward, exhale to lower, inhale, open heart pose, exhale to downward facing dog. Now finding modified side plank on the left side. From down dog, shift into your tabletop. Align the left palm with the shoulder. Walk the knees back. Pivot the shin bone about 45 degrees. Inhale, stack the hips. Reach that right hand to the sky. No worries if you didn't come into that pose perfectly. Adjust your stance. Find your modified plank and breathe. Keep holding for 2 to 3 breaths. Now our shoulders and hips are stacked along with those eyeballs as we're looking to the side. Sometimes though, if you want to look towards the earth, you may feel a little bit more grounded. Beautiful. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, come into plank pose, any variation. Exhale to lower. Inhale, open heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pull the hips away from your wrists. Sometimes I like to bend my knees really generously just so I make sure there's not a lot of weight on my palms. Breathe here. Breathing helps activate and strengthen your core. Use those muscles in between your rib cage as you inhale and exhale. Beautiful breath. Inhale, shift into plank. Drop your knees down so they're away from your hips. And now we're going to alternate left and right side modified plank. So go ahead and make your way to that right side plank. And then we're going to pivot and switch. Moving from left to right, activating and strengthening your obliques or your side core muscles. These muscles and this movement help strengthen your stability to prevent any falls in your practice or in your life. Let's find 2 more on each side. If you're maybe a more advanced yogi here, you can also try closing your eyes in this pose. Take your sight away from your movement and just feel the pose. Beautiful. Head to your last modified side plank. And then when you're done, find a child's pose. Take that break away from your wrists. And if that was really intense on your shoulders, go ahead and slide the palms to the back of your mat. Melt the forearms into the earth. Feel heavy against your yoga mat, softening the belly against your legs. Even though in yoga practice we're constantly activating that core, there's always a time and a place to find that soft belly. We're not pushing out the belly, but it's just a nice inhale, exhale to release any tension built up in those core muscles. Last few poses, let's inhale, come up into our tabletop pose again. We're going to find some intense wrist stretching. Turn the fingers out to the outer edges of your mat and sway from left to right. Option to stay here, or we're going to keep adding on to this pose. Turn the fingers towards the knees. If you feel the stretch, stay there. If not, go ahead and just lean back. If you think there's just way too much weight on your palms, you can walk your palms closer to your knees and lean your hips back. Rock forward and back, opening up the wrists. These are such important small muscles, especially when we're trying to strengthen our core, because a lot of core movements are done on our hands. Alright, final adding to this pose, shift your shoulders past your wrist and think about bending your elbows back. Now, if this is your first time doing this pose, you might feel like this is way too intense, but trust me, after a week of doing this stretch, you'll be able to bend your elbows like in a chaturanga. Alright, let's stretch the other side. So go ahead and just flip the back hand to the earth and round your spine. Again, if there's too much weight on your back hand, you can crawl it closer to your knee. Only needs to be about a 1 to 2 second stretch. Switch to the other side. Flip the back hand to the earth, fingertips facing the knee. Find your cat spine. Good. Shake it out and come into a comfortable seated position. And let's clasp the hands together, roll out the wrist, switch directions, and shake them out. Good. Rest the back hands in your lap or on your knees. Close your eyes and reflect over your practice. These basics will help you for your intermediate and advanced poses. With that in mind, go ahead and take your bow forward as respect to your practice. Namaste. Thank you for being here. Subscribe for more of my yoga videos.